If you're a fan of foldable smartphones, this is your year. Google's got the Pixel Fold, Motorola's got the Razr and Razr Plus, OnePlus has something coming up, Samsung's got 2 foldables coming out next month. There are just so many options this year, especially if you're in the US. But perhaps the most important foldable out of that whole bunch is this, the Google Pixel Fold. Now, I've spent about a week with the Google Pixel Fold, which I don't think is enough time to actually give you guys a full review, final verdict on the device. So you're going to want to stay tuned for the full written article of this device on ZDNET.com. For this video, I'm going to break down the features that I really enjoyed using with this device, as well as the areas of improvement that I hope to see either from software updates or with a future model. Alright, so first thing I like is the design. This is a lot wider and shorter in dimensions than the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, which is basically the closest competitor to the Google Pixel Fold. Now what that means is that both using the outer display as well as the inner display of the phone feels a lot more like a regular smartphone and tablet than, say, a square and a remote control. I'm not saying the Samsung one is bad. The Pixel Fold is just a lot more practical to use, and so if you're going to a foldable for the first time, this form factor is a lot more user-friendly than, say, the ones that are a bit thinner and taller. I mean, generally speaking, this phone is just easier to hold, tap, and swipe. I could actually move my thumb to the corner of all 4 sides. Google calls this the thinnest foldable on the market. You could basically put a sheet of paper between these 2 displays, hold the phone, and the paper just won't fall out. Now, the surprising thing is that even though there is this gapless design, the phone is not rated for dust resistance. It is only an IPX8 rating. There is one small issue that I have with the display, and it's the fact that it just doesn't get bright enough. Whenever I'm outdoors, I have this urge to actually crank up the brightness, so it disappoints me when I find out that it's already set to the highest and I could just barely see what's on the display. If you look at the specs, you'll probably be a bit disappointed that it's not the same camera configuration as what's on the Pixel 7 Pro. So for example, you have a 48 megapixel main lens, you have 10.8 ultra wide and telephoto, and that's compared to the Pixel 7 Pro, which had a 50 megapixel main lens and 12 megapixel and 48 megapixel telephoto lenses. And so on paper, the Pixel Fold just isn't a better camera system than the Pixel 7 Pro. But as is often the case with Google Pixel phones, the camera experience is mainly carried by the software and computational photography. When you're taking pictures outdoors, it's doing a lot of processing to really get that HDR right. It's able to capture images with a lot of sunlight and really balance things out, make things look a lot natural. And I like that it's not too sharpened or too saturated like the samples that I get with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Here's the interesting thing about the Pixel Fold. Both software is doing lifting, but also hardware in a sense, because at the end of the day, this is a foldable form factor, which means that you're able to switch the phone's display and the camera angles without needing a tripod or extra mounting accessories, which really lends itself to 2 benefits. The first one is astrophotography or long exposure shots. The second one is selfies. I actually don't recommend taking photos with the external display, only because it's so hard to actually fidget around and touch the shutter button while you're holding it up this way. But if you really do want those high resolution selfies, or if you want to take advantage of either the ultra wide lens or the telephoto lens while you're taking group selfies, you could very much do that with a foldable. Now, besides the fact that this phone folds, it's just a Pixel phone at the end of the day, which means that if you're a fan of Google specific features like photo unblur or magic eraser or call screening, then you'll really like the experience on the Pixel Fold. That said, I don't think that you should buy this phone just because you're a fan of the Google experience. This is an $1,800 phone at the end of the day, and it costs more than Google's high-end phone plus Google's tablet. Give me a stylus, give me a pen, give me something to take advantage of the larger display. Now, am I disappointed that Google didn't bundle a stylus with this phone? Probably not, because Google didn't do that with its Pixel tablet, and also this phone uses the Tensor G2 chip, which if Google actually releases a successor to that later this year, then this phone technically isn't even its best performing smartphone of the year. And the last thing that I think the Pixel Fold is missing is multitasking and productivity features. For multitasking, the phone only has split screen mode, which lets you open 2 apps at once. but you can't open more than that, and you also can't set app pairing. So if there are two apps that you find yourself using more often than not, you can't just set it as a preset pairing where you could just tap one button and open both of them at once. You can do that and open 3 apps at the same time on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold. I really like when foldables allow me to open an app on the outside screen, and then when I open the display, it'll translate that onto the inner display as well. And I also like when I have an app on the inner display that when I close the foldable, it will reopen on the outside display. That doesn't really work here. Google tells me that apps and services that run in the background, like YouTube and Spotify, will actually stay on as you close the device and repopulate itself on the outer display. But everything else like Google Chrome and Twitter and Instagram, should you want to switch back to this outer display, when you close the device, it will basically lock itself and you'll have to unlock again. Is it the end of the world that I can't open my Google Chrome tabs or TikTok from the inner display to the outer display? Not at all, but it is just another extra step in my daily usage that adds up. So that is a wrap of really this first part of the Pixel Fold review. This is an $1,800 foldable. It is Google's first foldable, so definitely more time and testing is warranted. If you guys want to stay up to date for the review on this device, make sure you guys go to ZDNET.com, and I'll see you there. And cut.